Hey guys, how the hell are you? Welcome back once again to Arnold Drinks. My name is Arnold, and tonight I drink. So, first of all, a shout out to Miss Helena, our roomie, because this is a bottle that she picked up for me on a recent excursion of hers. She was at a bottle shop in, I believe it was Cincinnati, and happened to spot this on the shelf, and I was like, ooh, I've heard of that. Please pick that up for me. Yeah, this is something that is rather incredible. I've already had a little bit of it, as you can see, but I've just realized after looking back at the various content that I put out on this channel, I have yet to actually talk about it to you guys. So, this is OKI Reserve Blended Bourbon Whiskey. Now, to call it a blended bourbon is a little off because there's honestly a blend of a lot in here. So there is a variety of different mash bills from MGP or whatever the hell the new name of MGP is. They're all contained herein. It specifically does say that it is distilled in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, so I'm going to assume that all of these mash bills contained herein are from MGP, bottled by OKI Bourbon in Bardstown, Kentucky. There is a lot that's going into this. Various different vintages of a 21% rye bourbon, a few vintages of a 36% rye bourbon. There is a 95% rye whiskey that is in there, a 15% rye corn whiskey that's in there. There's also a pretty healthy percentage in here of a light whiskey, which, if you guys know, I absolutely love my little bottle of Obtainium here, which that's exactly what that is light whiskey from MGP. 100 proof batch 1 reserve, so this is the very first batch of this, and yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've cracked open this bottle, so looking very forward to getting my lips wet on this again. Just so much going on with this right from the moment that you pour it into a glass. Like when I poured this in, it literally filled up my toka. It filled up the room with the smell of this whiskey. It is so pungent. There is so much going on with that aroma. So, kind of typical bourbony smells in there. You got a lot of caramel, a lot of vanilla. Nice little sugary note that's in there, like straight up sugar. Definitely a bit of a fruity thing in there too, like kind of like a fruity confection. Like almost like a sugar-topped pastry with like apples in it or something like that. Maybe some sort of other fruit that's in there. Maybe pear, just a little bit. Oh man, that is just super complex on the aroma. A lot going on. A little bit of grain in there too. A little bit of oak in there too, even on the aroma. A little bit of spiciness in there too. Just a little hint of that. Man, that is something, if the nose is anything to go on. I should mention I haven't opened this bottle in a hot minute, so this is definitely something that's going to feel a little bit like a new review because it's been a while since I've touched this, but this is smelling fantastic. So if the palate is anywhere close to this, this should be rather incredible. So man, that's got a lot going on to it. One of the first things you're going to notice from the moment you kind of sip it is you are definitely getting more than a healthy amount of oak in there. But it's not like a brutal, bitter, in-your-face kind of oakiness like my Maker's Mark barrel pick has behind me, for example. This one is a nice oak that's definitely permeating everything, but it's allowing everything else to shine. So you're getting that sort of fruity pastry, that fruity confectionery kind of thing coming through. Bit of apple, bit of like a candied apple kind of thing too. A little bit of sugar on top. Let's go in again. Thick, viscous mouthfeel. It really coats inside. It is 100 proof. It doesn't drink too hot either. Like, it's just kind of a nice, easy sipping 100 proof, for lack of a better description. Like, it's not drinking too hot at all. You're kind of being allowed to get all the flavor notes that are in there, but at the same time, what little bit of an alcohol kick is in there is kind of elevating that sort of slightly grainy, very, very oak heavy note that's in there. Also, I feel like that's sort of pushing through like a sort of toffee-ish, caramelish note that's in there on the palate. On that second sip, I'm getting a lot less of the fruit and a lot more of like kind of a pastry-ish kind of thing. Let's go in again. That's funny. That time around, I got more of a rye spice thing happening. Like, kind of that same sort of spice that you would get from a really solid rye whiskey. And that time, a little bit of the ethanol helping that along, too. Man, that's interesting. It's very, very layered. Like, I'm getting a little bit of a different experience on every sip here. A little bit of a rye mintiness coming through, too, which is definitely not a bad thing. I've had some great whiskeys this year that have had a super snappy kind of peppermint note at the front of the palate. And this definitely has a little bit of that as well. It's not as dramatic as some of the other stuff I've had, but it's definitely there. The finish on this whiskey is definitely a bit oak heavy. If I had to call out something as being something I'm not really a fan of, like the oakiness, it's kind of okay to me when it's a little bit more fleeting, but I don't want to taste nothing but wood and like cigar tobacco and stuff like that. I don't want to taste oiled leather so much on the finish. I don't want that to be the lingering notes. And that is definitely what I'm getting here. That sort of oaky, oiled leather note is coming through on the finish. And the finish it's a nice, long, lingering finish. So if those are the kind of notes that you do like on the finish, more power to you. This might be something that you really, really need to seek out. For me, this is something where, like, I really wish the front of the palate carried through a lot more through the rest of the tasting experience. Because the front of the palate, the aroma is so good. Even now, going back in on that aroma, still a lot of fruit, a lot of like powdered sugar and pastry goodness, but it just doesn't carry throughout the entirety of the experience. And if there's anything that I can call out about this whiskey, that would be it. If that was different, this would probably be like an end of the year finalist for me. But I mean, it as it stands right now, this is just it's a really, really fantastic, really, really complex whiskey. But man, that finish, I wouldn't say it kills it for me, but it kills any chance of this being like I need to have another bottle of this thing for me. So if that makes any sense. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to this channel, tons more of this content to come. And as always, remember, take what you do seriously, do not take yourselves too seriously.